Mishke here, joining the GL world to pitch my new podcast, which now comes out twice a week, Wednesdays and Fridays. The show features an extraordinary array of exotic circus performers, forgotten Hollywood starlets, reclusive Fortune 500 CEOs, professional taxidermists. Yep, wait a minute, that's a different promo. Where's the promo for GLers? Here it is. Let's try this again. Mishke here, pitching my new podcast. We're out of time? Could I do it again?
And came out and voluntarily took over the snow plowing duties for me this morning while I was out there.
Really?
Of course, I had already done it twice yesterday.
Well,
there was a little bit of guilt going on.
I think I left instructions with someone in my home when I left today. I'm not shoveling the front walk. You can do that.
I shoveled 3 times yesterday. 3 times.
Yeah, I did 2, and then half a time today, and then my son took over.
Yeah. I'm due for one more today, but it's just a small layer because I did it last night. So.
I haven't gotten to the hockey rink out in the backyard yet. You can't even see it. It's completely snowed under.
Oh, no.
Yep. Big snowbank.
There goes that nice, fresh ice.
Oh, I'll have to. Oh, God, and it was like glass, too, and now I'm going to have to fix it.
Gabe, you tell us when you're rolling and ready, and we'll...
Let's do it. We're going.
I think what you should do is, we don't have a podcast number, do we? Because it's not really an official podcast.
Do you not count these?
I mean, if the mayor's here.
We've not in the past counted.
Oh, okay.
So
what do you mean a podcast number?
Well, normally it would be
1687.
87? Is that 1687? But because you've not been voted in.
Is this like 6-7? Is this a
6-7?
It's 1687. Is that the deal?
Yes, so we've done 1,686 shows.
Regardless, Josh Arnold is still the opening sponsor.
Oh, that's
of the
right,
show.
Josh Arnold. We don't have highs and lows. We can tell you right now it's freezing out, and it's Monday, December 29th, and what would normally be... See, this screws up the total, though, for the 1687. Because it's on there as 1687.
Well, I can go back and I can take that off.
We'll figure that out later. You know what I think you should do?
Is he saying he's going to fudge the numbers?
I think he's going to fudge the numbers. There is going to be an audit. There is going to be an audit.
Isn't that how the state runs things?
I think I'll pass.
All right. You're good. We'll just hit the theme.
Hail the flashlight king.
And now, from the mayor's office above the boathouse on the east shore of Spoon Lake, it's Garage Logic with Chris Reavers manning Technology Corner.
Nope.
Kenny Olson from the Krabby Coffee Shop.
Nope.
John Heidt in the newsroom.
Yes.
And, of course, the rookie. Here is your flashlight king, fireworks commissioner, and the keeper of common sense, your mayor, Joe Souchere.
Nope.
Thank you. I forgot about that one.
Another nope. Yeah, we forgot that he was a nope.
Your watch doesn't deceive you, and your ears don't deceive you. This is the weird week between Christmas and New Year's that is no man's land.
Yeah, and don't I get the flowery rookie introduction, some kind of mocking tone?
Ladies and gentlemen, he wishes he was back where his career basically first started, in Fort Myers, Florida, where there's no shoveling, no plowing, and none of that sub-zero weather where you got to bring your pets in at 50 degrees. It's the one and only KSTP Channel 5 chief political reporter. That's not like they've got a big office.
Yeah,
he's the chief of
a
one,
massive staff.
Mr. Tom Hauser, who was kind enough to fill in for Joe Souchere today.
Thank you very much. And
welcome.
Actually, I started my career 42 years ago yesterday down in Austin, Albert Lee.
Oh, wow. I forgot about that. And then you went to Fort Myers.
Oh, yeah. So I've had a lot of shoveling in my past.
42 years.
Some people say I'm still shoveling stuff every day on the air.
Yeah, you are. I got my boots on right now, so we're good to go. Well,
yeah, I was. In fact, I was telling my daughter yesterday as we were packing her up to send her on her way back to Milwaukee, and where she lives, my youngest daughter, and we wanted her to get ahead of the storm. She was going to go out and have breakfast with her friends from St. Thomas and whatnot.
Big send-off.
And she goes, no, I got to get on the road. She's a very smart kid. So we're packing up her car at 8 a.m. yesterday when the first big snowflakes started falling.
Oh.
We get her all packed. She's ready to go. And she said she was just ahead of the storm, until like past Hudson. It didn't really get far into Wisconsin, but she said by the time she got to Milwaukee 4.5 hours later, it was pouring rain in Milwaukee.
Oh, it was rain.
45 degrees, pouring rain. So.
Oh, she did beat the.
But I told her it reminded me of my first day on the job. I actually worked a night shift, or I went in at 1:30. I think I just worked like a half a day, and then of course they threw me on the air. Like
right. Baptism by fire.
This is
there
how
you go, kid. Welcome.
It's happened everywhere. It's happened everywhere. A microphone has a life of its own, apparently.
Microphone.
No, maybe I should just tighten it.
Yeah.
Do you have a lug wrench?
I do not.
But I still remember my mom standing in the family room in her robe with her cup of coffee, tearfully waving goodbye to her number 6 son. 6 out of 8. And she, and I remember, because it's like about a 2-hour drive down to Austin. So I was leaving, I don't know what it was, 9:30 in the morning or something. And so it was weird, because then yesterday, 42 years later, I'm tearfully sending my daughter back to Milwaukee by herself.
The cycle of life is brutal and beautiful at the same time.
It absolutely is. But yeah, it started in Austin, then Fort Myers, and then Des Moines, Iowa, WHO in Des Moines, and then here for 30.
Oh, you worked. I didn't know you had a pit stop in Des Moines then too.
33 years.
Before
I've been here. Yeah, I was there. I stayed there for 4.5 years because I also got my master's degree at Drake University while I was there, and the company paid for it.
Nice.
But they had a great way to string you along. They would pay for it one course at a time per semester, plus you could take a summer class. And if you got an A, they would pay 100%, and for your books, back when books were a thing.
Oh, wow. Yeah, right, your books. I forgot about that.
Yeah, books. And so it was, my dad should have used this incentive when I was at St. Thomas, because I got straight A's in graduate school and had it 100% paid for. And so it kept me there, though. Part of their plan is that I stayed for 4.5 years. Otherwise, I would have maybe left after 2 or 2.5. And then it was funny, I graduated in May of 92. September of 92, I started at Channel 5. And for about 10 years after that, my old general manager at WHO used to send me a Christmas card saying, Hauser, you still owe me money for tuition.
Thank you for your contribution.
We paid for that master's degree, and then you're gone. You're out the door. But it did keep me there for 4.5 years. But yeah, so
that's the way it goes. Prior to me leaving Sun Country, I won the Soul of Sun Country Award. It's their highest. You have to be nominated by other employees. Had a dinner, jacket, a plaque, all sorts of voucher.
You got a jacket?
That was in late November.
Nice.
And I said,
is it like a master's jacket, or is it a jacket?
It had a little Sun Country emblem and Matthew Ops. You know, it was.
Did you get an ascot and a pipe? That came
didn't
with
get an
this,
ascot, but we had a nice meal, and that's when I dropped the bomb that I was be going to a different company.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Well,
yeah. You waited.
Thanks for lunch, pal.
Yeah.
See ya.
How long did you wait? About 10 minutes before you told them?
7.5.
On your way out the door?
7.5, yes.
Or did you get to the parking lot and then call back? Oh, by the way.
No, I gave it to him face up. I said, Jude, this isn't happening for me right now. I can't do it. And they said, oh, that's fine. Go ahead.
keep the stuff.
Yeah, you're good. Don't worry about it.
So they didn't try to reel you back in?
They didn't at the time.
Yeah.
Later on they did, but it's all good. It worked out for both of us, I think.
So...
What's the deal with walls? What the hell? Do people know anything?
I was even unaware that there were any suspicions about fraud happening in the state until like yesterday. So I was a little disturbed to find out that was the case, because we'd been inundated with emails since a viral video went out that broke a story that J. Cole's broke 10 months ago. So it was but I've had I don't know how many emails, Facebook messages, any way they can find you. I'm surprised there haven't been smoke signals or flares that have gone up.
So
about why don't you ever cover fraud?
People are trying to reach out, and do they have specifics, or are they just ripping the fact that...
why does it take this YouTuber to uncover the fact that there's fraud in Minnesota. And then, you send them links to all the stories that we've been doing until you're blue in the face. I will tell you, some of the viewers have written back and said, well, I apologize. I had no idea. Because people love to criticize without having any idea what they're talking about. And it's the old, if a tree falls in the forest and there's no one around, does it make a sound? Rook, does it make a sound?
It does not make a sound. It's very quiet.
Well, if we cover fraud, including child care fraud, where Jay Coles goes knocking on doors and finding empty daycares and locked doors, but nobody watches it, did that story actually happen?
No.
No, it did not.
No.
Well, you
Despite
could ask
all the work of Jay Coles.
You could ask any of the. Now, I should say it's a few dozen people have emailed, but then I even get people that don't even follow me on Facebook sending me, direct messages. What are you going to do about that? And they always demand to know what is the media with its vast subpoena powers and our ability to call hearings and our arrest authority and our ability to stop payments and our ability to force Governor Walz to resign.
And do it all.
With all of that power, why are we not using it? And I don't really have a good answer for them. I just, we like to exercise all of those powers as judiciously as we can.
It is getting better, though, is it not?
Is what getting better?
Coverage. I mean, this stuff is.
We've been covering this for years.
But I mean, as far as awareness, I mean, you're right. You have.
Yes, but everybody is in a media. They're in a partisan media silo, and and that goes for this podcast as well as many others.
Yep.
I mean, there's a Fox News silo. There's for Republicans.
CNN.
There's a MSNBC for the Democrats. CNN probably leans Democrat, but it's not as bad as MSNBC.
Right.
MSNBC, even though they're trying to change it, did they change their name already? They were going to.
They did, yes.
Yeah,
it's already done.
Yeah, because they were trying to get
Reinvent
away
themselves
from. I think in some way, and part of that is the reality of you got Republicans in charge of all of the federal government now, and so they realize that the tide is against them.
Right.
So now they want to try to ride the wave, or at least provide less resistance to the wave. But then again, you've got liberal podcasts, you have conservative podcasts, and people go to their corner, and that's where they stay. And they don't. And then people will criticize the local media about why don't we go do a video like the one that has gone viral, and
that's what the kid walking around,
and asking
Robert or whatever his
walking
name is.
around asking people, Tim Walz did all this, and they go, really, Tim Walz did that? Yeah. Do you think he should resign? I mean, that's just not how objective, responsible.
It's not what you were going for when you got your master's degree.
No. Well, there's, if you want to watch opinion journalism, that's fine. That is not what the local news media does. And I know people will say, oh, well, the Star Tribune is so far to the left. I mean, their editorial page has been to the left probably forever, even though Glenn Taylor, who now owns the Star Tribune, used to be a Republican state senator.
Right.
A lot of people have forgotten that.
Yeah.
And, he's a billionaire, former Republican state senator. Now, Steve Grove is currently the publisher, and he famously worked for Governor Walz. But there is some balance there. You've got a former Republican state senator, and then you've got Steve Grove. But I think all the local media, and I think 5 Eyewitness News has done as good a job as anyone in terms of covering this fraud over the last few years, and we've even stepped it up more in the last year as more has come to light. But the other stations have done a good job too, but so many people refuse to watch because they assume all of the mainstream media is left-wing, and it just isn't true. We never sit in a morning meeting and think about, okay, how can we stick it? How can we stick it to the Republicans today?
Yes.
How can we do? If anybody said that, they would probably be fired. Certainly sent home packing for the day to think about what they've done. Maybe without pay.
Right.
And that's just
tomorrow.
That's just not the way it works. But you can talk until you're blue in the face, trying to convince people of this, but people make up their minds. And, what are you going to do? I will send them links to so many stories, including these J. Cole's stories about after he did the child care story last year, the legislature had a hearing. They talked specifically about his story.
Yes.
They specifically talked about 5 Eyewitness News and what we had uncovered and what we had done. And so I've sent people that
Here's our proof.
story.
Proof is in place.
Even when they questioned the veracity of some of what Jay had done. Well, we think he went to the wrong daycare addresses. He needed to go here, not there. So Jay went back, double-checked, triple-checked the addresses, and he went back again and went right back to the same door. It says the name of the child care right on the door. There's no question he's in the right place. And again, this was all done January of last year, so 10, 11 months ago. And the reason it's getting so much coverage now is this viral video is really an outgrowth and a result of President Trump calling, was it, I forget, Trump, I think, called Minnesota a hellhole and Somali people garbage.
Yes.
And so that got a lot of the national podcasters ginned up. And so then they come here, they'll do a couple of hit pieces, and then they'll be gone, and they'll be on to the next thing.
Well, and the difference, I think, between with what news anchors and reporters, political-wise, you still have proper procedures. If you say there was fraud here, you have to go to the Department of XYZ and say, talk to us about this. And half the time they say, we're not available, or we can't talk about that. Or whereas this guy just walks around Facebook and says, hey, we got you. And there's really no, not credibility, but there's
accountability.
No accountability as far as we reached out to John Q. Somali, and he did not respond to our request.
Yeah,
whereas this guy's just in your face interviewing.
And again, you could tell that this story, they went in with an agenda, and when they see people walking at them, they go, "Oh, here come the Somalis." If you watch the video,
yes,
here come the Somalis. Now, I don't know, maybe from
I
a
heard
distance.
you say that a couple times on your pieces. Oh, here come the Somalis. Let's go. Let's go throw a mic at them.
Maybe from a distance, you can tell that somebody. But I just they went in with an agenda to go after. And don't get me wrong, I am fully aware that there have been Somali people, many of them, dozens at a minimum, involved in this fraud.
Right.
There have also been non-Somali people involved in this fraud, but they came in with the agenda that Tim Walz bad, Somali people bad, and that was the agenda that they came in with. We don't do, when you're doing objective journalism, we don't do agendas other than what's the truth and what isn't.
Present the facts, and then you can decide.
When J. Cole's did his stories, those were heavily lawyered. He had to go through layers because you can't just go ahead and say something is fraud unless you have proof that it is in fact fraud. I'm trying to find you one. Speaking of the Somali situation, I had an email exchange with a guy today about this, and here was his response after he said, he goes, "Oh, you only do 5 seconds, a 5-second spot on fraud. My producers wish I could do a story as short as 5 seconds." I am 2-minute Tommy, not like Tommy Kramer.
Oh.
We're supposed to be like a minute and a half, minute 45. They're lucky when mine are less than 2 minutes. But he goes, I see that the local news help cover for the mentally ill governor. And 5 seconds spot on fraud that makes it on the news tells us nothing. Trump is right. These people are garbage. He's talking about Somali people.
Right.
So then he writes back after that, I personally have dealt with Somali people, and every one of them have been nasty, ungrateful, un-American. We bring in third world people, and that's what we get. Entitled to our money, our homes. Are they at your house?
I have not. I work with many of them, but I can attest to the fact that there are very nice Somalis out
Our
there.
health care, you name it, they take it, and they don't give back anything. Correct me if I'm wrong, or give me some examples of what they have done for anyone but themselves. So that's just one example. We get those.
There's a Mike
every single
Lindell
day.
vote.
What's that?
There's a Mike Lindell vote.
No, Mike Lindell.
Oh.
Let's talk about Mike Lindell.
I met him at the airport we didn't say this on the air, we said it prior to, but I saw him at the airport yesterday. He was going to visit, according to him, Mar-a-Lago and meet with the president. And I said, well, tell the president he should come on Garage Logic, will you? And he just got a chuckle out of that. But nice guy. Talked to him, and he's I had also run into Angie Craig the other same day, earlier that morning.
We should make it clear they were not traveling together.
Right, they were not traveling together. They were completely separate. But it's just funny. She's fired up too about her race for governor
or for Senate.
For Senate.
Yep.
And
here's an interesting thing. We'll get to Mike Lindell in a minute, but here's the interesting thing about Angie Craig and Peggy Flanagan, for that matter. But let's start with Angie Craig. Peggy.
Who is she? I heard that name 4 or 5 years ago, but I haven't seen her around for a while.
Well, running against Angie Craig for the U.S. Senate nomination on the DFL side. But the federal office holders, Tom Emmer, Pete Stauber, Betty McCollum, Angie Craig, the whole group. So far, no spotlight has turned on them about what have you been doing at the federal level to combat fraud? Because this money largely is federal money being sent here through Medicaid. And if, as Joe Thompson, the assistant U.S. attorney, says, although he has not produced evidence of it yet, that there's $9 billion of fraud here, why has Medicaid, the CMS, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid in Washington, not raised a red flag about why is there so much more money per capita going to Minnesota than other places?
Right.
Why do they keep sending checks to Minnesota so then Minnesota can keep sending checks to the fraudsters? And, there's a really interesting study that has been, because I think you're probably aware, just about everybody thinks that fraud is only a Minnesota problem. Mm-hmm. There was a report done, I think it was just published in 24, but fraud risk management between 2018 and 2022, and this is from the Government Accounting Office, so a federal agency. It says federal government loses an estimated $233 billion to $521 billion annually to fraud based on various risk environments. And then they go on to this very long report about how common fraud is
everywhere
throughout the federal government. Clearly, Minnesota has a problem. No denying that. But what people lose sight of is perspective. And I understand there's a visceral dislike of Governor Walz among a segment of Minnesota. The fact is he's been elected like 7 times in a row.
I know.
And so now, is he vulnerable this year? Absolutely. Is he less vulnerable if Republicans don't nominate a candidate who can win? Yes. And there's 10 or 12 candidates I think about 5 of them are probably top tier,
Solid.
really solid candidates, and then you've got some that don't have much of a chance. Some who have a chance who might be the worst thing that could happen for Republicans. And I don't want to name names.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No, please don't. We're good. It's funny
No
because
opinions on the news, John.
Sorry, my bad.
Close your mouth over there. Close your mouth. It's just funny that we had Governor Carlson on Thursday or Friday, I forget which, of last week, and he said that he shouldn't. He didn't say he should resign right now, but he said he shouldn't run again. He with all this, he should do the right thing. And he said, as a former auditor, this is outrageous. What?
And he's right about one thing. As a former auditor, this goes back to feeding our future. And I've even asked Governor Walz about this when I interviewed him in October. What was there? Where were people when all of these supposedly thousands of kids were being fed out of these little storefronts? Does the state not have gas mileage money to send people out just to spot check, say, I don't know, at lunchtime?
Right. Yeah.
Are there kids actually being fed?
You're feeding 500 kids a day. Just snap a photo.
Yeah.
Show me the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
You just go because a photo. Yeah. This
can be doctored up. You're right.
In the day of AI, that's a whole other. There's a whole topic for another show.
That's loaves and fishes.
Pretty soon, like all these Epstein photos are being released. You don't know what's real and what's fake.
I think the one of Clinton in the pool was
I'm
real.
pretty sure that was real.
Hey, baby, how you doing?
I got the idea.
I like your white bikini.
I got the idea that one might be real.
Yeah, that one I do believe. The others, I don't know.
But you get my point. I mean,
yes.
So where was the oversight? You could say the same thing about these child care centers. And DHS, at a hearing last February that we covered, said, we've been spot checking. They have gone. They have seen children. And that's what they said back then. You don't see that in the viral video that is out there now.
Facebook or Instagram, whatever it is. Yeah,
YouTube. Yeah,
YouTube. Excuse me.
You don't see that in there because there's not really a lot of interest in vetting a lot of the materials they have, at least as far as I could tell.
And you can see that on social media if you're following somebody on Instagram or Facebook. And it's a buddy of yours, and I've got several people like this that will just, the hook gets in there hard. Yes. Can you believe this? This is what we're talking about. And then there's a story about some kind of fraud or some Democrat, or I can't even think of anything specific, when it's obviously, if you read through, you can see down in the, hey, that was in 1987, or this was not real, or, somebody just bites hard, and you're like, don't use social media as a political shaming device.
No, I'll tell you, and Twitter, X, was a great platform when it first started. You could be watching a Vikings game or a Wild playoff game or whatever, and it's kind of a communal bitch session. Can I say bitch?
Yeah, you can.
I've just said it twice.
You can. That's right.
So I'm not calling you that.
I know.
I probably can't call you.
I didn't say you are one. I said you are acting like one.
Could I say you are my bitch?
You are
could I say
like
it with
one.
that?
Yes.
Is that okay?
That's okay, yes. That's possessive.
But now it's become a cesspool. And it really is a cesspool of hate. And hate cloaked in anonymity. And I've talked about that on this podcast before. It is people who will not put their name on. And then when you call them out on it, they'll say, well, the reason I don't put my name on it is I might lose my job if people find out what I'm actually thinking. Right? I go, you might want to think about that a little harder.
Right.
If what you're saying and thinking isn't palatable in your workplace, you might want to question what you're thinking and saying.
Right.
So,
and then you won't have to worry about losing your job.
Yeah. Well, we're going to take a break, and we'll talk more about Mike Lindell, because I think he is fascinating, his potential candidacy, some of the advantages he has that no one else, money can't even buy, some of the advantages he has.
This guy's going to Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah.
I'm not. Not that I would. I mean, I didn't get an invite, but it's just.
Not yet. Not yet.
Well, I don't think I will. My guess is no.
All right, let's take a break.
Here's a man that doesn't like to work the week after Christmas. Here's Joe Souchere. But really, it's not.
Or his deputy mayor.
Or his, right. I mean,
one of his deputy. Did I hear Pat Garofalo is going to be in here tomorrow?
Pat Garofalo will be here tomorrow, so we'll still get more politics, but that's the
promise to just mock him unmercifully for any reason whatsoever.
He gets ridden pretty hard for his Tesla.
He does.
For his what?
His Tesla.
Oh, good. You said Tesla.
Yes, Tesla. Tesla call. His Tesla call.
I just wanted to,
yes, I will greet him for you.
Pat Garofalo was one of my favorite people in the legislature because he was always so open. He always had interesting legislation, because he loved the self-driving cars. He and I did a story once, this is probably 5 years ago, maybe longer, and we went to a Tesla. It wasn't really even a dealership yet. They were working out of some little office right off 169, I think, in Hopkins or something. And we went out to show me how a self-driving car works. And it was the first time I'd ever been in one. And I was in the driver's seat, and then there was a Tesla guy in the seat next to me. And then Garofalo was in the back seat, and my photographer was back there videoing this. And it was the most disconcerting thing to be behind the wheel of a car, and it's like, look, Ma, no hands. It was the strangest thing.
Now, does yours still do that?
This is 5 years ago.
Does yours still do that? You still have the self-driving?
I have a Model Y, so I have the same model that Pat does. We don't pay for self-driving because it's $110 a month.
Oh, it is.
And he's young. He doesn't have any money yet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's driving a Tesla, though.
Now, for 110, now that's if you just want it to work kind of half-ass. Can you pay $250 and then it'll do everything?
Right.
Like
Wash
for 110,
itself.
does it stop at stoplights? For 110?
It does, yeah. It will. We can have it
That's
so
the
it'll
minimum
keep the lane.
requirement.
Exactly.
At
Yeah.
250, it'll change lanes for you.
Yeah, yes.
Otherwise, you
Safely.
just stay over in the slow lane.
Yeah, you can do some drag racing at 250. I heard.
No, that's the deluxe package,
Yeah,
Gabe.
that's
We gotta
what
get
is it, the ludicrous button? Or
Ludicrous mode, yeah.
Anyway, so we did that story, and then Pat was into sports betting. I mean, all these things. There are some lawmakers up there who are kind of populists. He was kind of a populist guy. Things that the general population is interested in.
The vice. The vice is the gambling or the sports betting.
We did a whole segment with Pat on his sports gambling. Remember, Rook, last time he was
his
here?
sports gambling problem or his bill?
Well, he didn't call it a
Pretty
problem.
close.
He told us about some of his winnings.
The first is denial, right? The first is denial.
Yeah. A whole segment. It was fun.
Well, I won a fantasy football champion. Well, I shouldn't. God, look at it. I've just jinxed it.
Yeah.
I'm leading in my Super Bowl in my neighborhood league by like 60 or 70 points, but my opponent has Puka Nakua playing tonight, who's been getting about 40 or 50 points a game.
You know what is really...
But I think I'm Puka-proof.
You know what?
Because I've got such a big lead, but God, you never know in the NFL.
My wife, they're in a family thing, and she's playing my brother-in-law who has Puka.
Oh, yeah.
She's ahead right now. But, Puka, he scores 40 points a game for, in football. So maybe we can jinx it. Maybe he'll a light maiming, a light ankle injury.
I think he has set a record. He's had 4 straight games with over 150 yards, which ties the record set by somebody else.
That ends tonight against
Randy
Atlanta.
Moss. But that's hard to. There's a reason it's only been done once before, the 4 in a row. It's hard to do. So you would think the odds would be against him.
Telling himself that. He's telling himself
that.
He's
trying to talk himself into it.
But I had Christian McCaffrey last night. I think he Puka-proofed me because I went from being up 40 points to I think I'm up 70 points. In fact, my opponent already conceded this morning.
Oh, really? You can do that?
He
It's like an election?
No, he's toying with me.
Does he have to wear the bunny suit or a hula
Tom,
skirt?
you can just take your winnings out of my second place portion, blah, blah. I go, yeah, huh? I'm not going to count any of my chickens before they hatch. But anyway, back to Garofalo. Those types of, because you have some lawmakers who like those general interest bills, the populist bills. And then you got people who like to do and these are important people, don't get me wrong, the nitty-gritty health and human services. your Jim Abler, your John Hoffman. Very, very, ultimately, I would say the most important work, but it's not the most scintillating if you're trying to do a TV story. If I'm trying to do a story about disability waivers, that gets a little dry pretty quickly. You give me a self-driving car or a guy losing his shirt sports gambling.
Turn up the volume.
I got all kinds of video to go with that. So it's funny how that works. But anyway, so Garofalo will be in tomorrow.
Yes.
You'll have to ask him, since he is a former elected official, his thoughts about Mike Lindell. Here are my thoughts.
All right. I'd like to hear your thoughts.
It is so difficult to get 100% name recognition. Mike Lindell might not have 100%, but he's well into the 90s, I think.
I would agree with that.
Yeah,
He's very recognizable.
Because the My Pillow thing, there's something about the infomercials. Like when I was a kid, and maybe you guys remember this, Ron Popeil,
Yes.
the Popeil
Yes.
pocket fisherman,
Yes.
the Ronco bottle and jar cutter.
Yes.
No, you knew these guys because they were on these infomercials. These My Pillow things were everywhere. Jimmy Kimmel has had him on. It's Mike Lindell is one of the few people who has threaded that needle between accommodating Jimmy Kimmel and President Trump.
I don't know how. I mean, right now he's the butt of so many jokes with everything going down, but at the time, at his peak, he was almost walking on water.
Which one?
Lindell.
Mike Lindell, yes. So he's got 100% name recognition. And you got to remember that a lot of voters, and I say this with some chagrin and some sadness, a lot of voters don't know anything but a name. And when they go in to vote, I recognize that name. And it's not Tim
Sharon
Walz.
Anderson.
And it's not Tim Walz.
Yes.
I'm going to vote for Mike Lindell. Or whoever his Republican opponents are. Like in a primary, he could be a formidable force for the endorsement. The convention people tend to be from the MAGAverse.
Right.
And that's where the Lindell wing
is.
And if these are the same people that endorsed Royce White, not Royce Lewis, as I often say.
Yes.
Royce Lewis, at one point, probably could have been elected governor. He's had a couple of down seasons, however.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he is formidable in the endorsement battle at the convention level, and certainly in the primary, especially if he gets the endorsement of Donald Trump. And the rumor that you're starting is that he might be down in Florida.
He's paying him a visit. He could have been full of beans, and he was going to, I don't know, Port Lucie or something like that.
My guess is he wouldn't make that up. But I don't know. And
I also believe President Trump would have him over too.
Yes, I could.
Just because he's a wild card.
And you heard the speech that he gave in North Carolina, President Trump, 2 weeks ago, where he said he deserves a shot to be governor, which I'm sure put the fear of God in all of the other Republican candidates, because if you have 100% name recognition or nearly that, and you have the endorsement of President Trump, who is very popular with most of the Republican base, that's a tough combination. Now, he has no money, which is a problem.
Right.
But usually what you do with money in politics is you buy name recognition. He can skip that part. He just needs to get enough money to put some ads on the air so people know, hey, I'm Mike Lindell. You know who I am? I'm in the race.
Sponsored by My Pillow.
So
what used to be My Pillow?
It still is My Pillow, isn't it?
Are they still? I think
they're making him out of his garage now.
There still is a company, yes.
They've had some issues with the plants out in Chaska and whatnot.
Okay.
But he's... anyway, did you want to take another break? I am curious. Ask Garofalo tomorrow. I'll be listening. I'm just curious what his thoughts are on a Mike Lindell candidacy, because he knows a lot of the other people who
And then
are
I'll have to pick him up off the ground. Is that what's going to happen?
Well, I don't know.
All right, we can do that. We'll be back. Were you going to come back with Johnny Heidt?
I suppose we could do some news with Johnny Heidt. Yeah.
Okay, Johnny.
And by the way, I love his Fender sweatshirt. I'm very podcastable today.
You're
the
pond
hockey from
2023.
Lake Minnetonka 2023. Trying to get it on camera there. They don't do this tournament anymore, but played in it a number of years. It was
Why
the
don't
one,
they?
The people
Logistics?
who organized it raised a lot of money, but it was a lot of work. Trying
okay.
to. They still have the one out on Nokomis.
Okay.
I think it's still on Nokomis. That's the United States pond hockey. This was the North American pond hockey.
Got it.
Raised a lot of money. Cambria and Youngsteads and a lot of them were big sponsors. They raised a lot of money. A lot of volunteer hours went into this. And after 10, I think they did for 10 years.
Just kind of,
and again,
we're done.
You think I'm at the mercy of the weather with my backyard rink?
Yeah.
Imagine trying to build a dozen rinks out on a lake.
No, that's getting hit by the sun.
But anyway, I'm dressed for a podcast today. It's very
You look very casual. I love it.
I'm usually here in
There's
a
no
necktie.
tie, shorts.
Nope.
Speedo.
All right, we'll have Johnny Heidt in the news when we come back. Can you give me a breaking news sounder when we come back? Rook, we have some breaking news just in to the news department here at Garage Logic. Johnny Heidt has never seen Home Alone.
I haven't. I've seen bits and pieces many times because
Oddly,
my wife
he's
and
seen
my
Home
kid.
Alone 3.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he's never seen...
Right, he skipped the first two.
He heard the first two weren't very good, so he went straight to 3. It's like he also has only seen Caddyshack 2.
Yikes.
Oof, boy.
Anyway, with that kind introduction, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Johnny Heidt and the news.
Thanks, Tom. Before we get to the news, the news, by the way, is brought to you by North American Banking Company. I did go look. We were talking about MyPillow. And yes, they are still in business, and they now sell a lot more stuff.
Don't they have a pharmacy even?
They got the pillows.
And the pills.
My mega hat.
They got bed sheets, bedding, mattresses, mattress toppers. They have slippers. My Slippers, it's called.
Oh,
How silky are those bed sheets? Are they nice?
Towels and
thread count on
bathrobes.
Where'd they come up with the name My Slippers? Boy, that's a stretch.
They have oven mitts and kitchen things you'd wear, pot holders.
Are they called My Kitchen Things You Wear?
It doesn't
My
have
pot
it.
holders?
No,
My
not that.
pot holders.
They also have pet blankets. They also have, here's one, Tom, My Coffee. They sell their own coffee. So
I'm pretty sure they also are into pharmaceuticals now. Maybe you can Google that. And that
health and wellness, right?
Oh, probably under
Are
health
they
and wellness.
affordably priced?
They have Flex Extra Strength Liquid Joint Formula, Rev 7 energy drinks, apple cider vinegar gummies.
I thought he was selling, what's that called? What's that? The COVID drug? The
Ivermectin.
Oh.
I thought he was selling that.
I do not see that. He does have his own anti-tired drink, he calls it. So.
I do too. It's called Diet Mountain Dew.
It's his has.
Right.
But I did a little end around. I call it My Diet Mountain Dew. So kind of like the My Pillow thing. So it's a whole different thing, and the bottle is a different shade of green. And there's no hillbillies in it. Can you say hillbillies on this podcast?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Rev 7 is the name of his. No caffeine, no sugar, and no crash. So apparently, he's expanding.
No crack?
What
Crash.
Well,
Crash.
I'm pretty sure
sorry.
that might be the ingredient that keeps you from crashing.
Let's move along to
All
news
right, here
now,
we go.
shall we? In local news, FBI Director Kash Patel said yesterday his agency is reallocating resources to Minnesota to continue investigating allegations of widespread fraud linked to federally funded programs. The update came after investigative YouTuber Nick Shirley last week released that 42-minute documentary we've been talking about, visiting the addresses of daycare centers, adult home care companies, and other businesses. Many appeared to be inactive despite claiming millions of dollars in state-distributed taxpayer funds. In yesterday's announcement, Patel noted the FBI's work dismantling the $250 million scheme to siphon pandemic-era food assistance via the Feeding Our Future network.
And by the way, that child care story that he broke was just 11 months after Jay Coles did the story at two of the same daycare centers.
Imagine that.
Just throwing that out there.
A security guard who was reportedly assaulted by a non-compliant patient outside a Wyoming, Minnesota hospital has died due to her injuries. According to the Wyoming Police Department, the security guard, identified as 43-year-old Andrea Merrill of North Branch, Merrill had reportedly been assaulted by a patient at M Health Fairview Lakes Medical Center on Christmas Day by 35-year-old Jonathan Winch of Chisago City. Around 5:45 p.m., police were called after Winch, a patient, reportedly tried to run from the hospital's emergency department after he was placed on a hold. Winch had reportedly attacked Merrill before police got there, then entered a prolonged engagement with law enforcement before he was arrested. Police Chief Neil Bauer said the Wyoming Police Department extends its sincere condolences to Andrea Merrill's family, loved ones, and colleagues, as well as to the staff of M Health Fairview Lakes Medical Center during this extremely difficult time. Winch is currently being held at the Chisago County Jail. Minneapolis police are looking into a shooting that killed a 17-year-old boy Sunday evening. Police responded to the 2200 block of Ilion Avenue North around 6:26 on the report of a shooting. Officers at the scene found a 17-year-old boy with an apparent life-threatening gunshot wound. The boy was brought to a hospital where he was declared dead. MPD officials say an initial investigation indicates the victim was inside a residence when shots were fired into the residence and one shot hit him. MPD Chief O'Hara said this tragic killing has shattered the family of the young man. Will devote every available resource to bring justice to the young victim and his family. The investigation into the shooting, according to O'Hara, is ongoing. And Xcel Energy's natural gas customers in Minnesota will pay a little higher rate starting January 1st, with the cost of the average home going up about $70 a year. 6.8% increase was approved 3-zip by the Minnesota Public Utilities Commission in mid-December. It affects home heating bills, but the rates are temporary while the PUC scrutinizes Xcel's larger request for higher gas rates that would cost the typical home about $85.32 every year. If the PUC approves lower rates than the interim 6.8%, customers will get a refund with interest. This is the second time in 3 years Xcel has asked utility regulators to grant the company higher gas rates. That's unusual for Xcel, which usually files gas rate cases less often. Why don't we take a quick break here? We'll come back with some national and international news right after this.
That kind of reminds me of
They come to work the week after Christmas because they get the best parking spots. It's the Garage Logic staff. Here's Tom Hauser.
we get the only parking spots, right?
Yeah, that's
well,
about it.
John didn't have to worry about that,
No,
but we do.
John's commute was great today.
Yes.
It was wonderful. Didn't get cold at all. In national international news, President Trump said while hosting President Vladimir Zelensky of Ukraine on Sunday, that was tough, that he believed Russia and Ukraine were maybe very close to ending a nearly 4-year war, even as Russia rejected many of the terms sought by Ukrainian negotiators. The president met with Zelensky at his Mar-a-Lago residence in Florida to talk about a revised 20-point peace plan. Zelensky said that the latest proposal developed by Ukraine and the U.S. was nearly finished, and both leaders stressed that the lengthy peace talks would continue. Significant obstacles remain, chief among them the willingness of President Vladimir Putin of Russia to sign on to the peace framework pushed by Kiev and Mr. Trump's top negotiators.
I'm thinking Mike Lindell was called down there to close the deal.
Oh, there you go.
Could be. Could
What
be
if
an international.
What if Lindell went down there and he got the Nobel Peace Prize?
He would be voted in no time as governor of the state of Minnesota.
You know, you could double down on that because the president is meeting this afternoon with Israeli President Benjamin Netanyahu.
Oh,
so
my
maybe
God.
Mike went down there for that.
Peace
huh?
on earth, goodwill to all men.
Israel's recent strikes in Gaza appear to have angered the Trump administration, and its military actions in Lebanon and Syria seem at odds with U.S. efforts to stabilize governments in both countries. The man accused of placing 2 pipe bombs in Washington on the eve of January 6, 2021, told investigators after his arrest he believed someone needed to speak up for people who believe the 2020 election was stolen and that he wanted to target the country's political parties because they were, in his words, in charge, according to prosecutors. Those allegations laid out Sunday in a Justice Department memo arguing that Brian J. Cole, who was arrested earlier this month on charges of placing the bombs outside the headquarters of the Democratic and Republican National Committee, should remain locked up while the case moves forward.
I second that.
Yeah. French actress Brigitte Bardot died yesterday at the age of 91. Former sex symbol had been hospitalized last month. No cause of death was given. Bardot's breakout role came in 1956 when, at the age of 23, she starred in And God Created Woman, directed by her then-husband, Roger Vadim. Bardot would go on to act in more than 24 films. After retiring from acting, she founded an animal rights organization. She was convicted and fined multiple times for inciting racial hatred, largely for comments criticizing Muslim approaches to slaughter rituals. She became an outspoken supporter of France's National Front and married an advisor to nationalist populist leader Jean-Marie Le Pen. There's a new tool out there that looks at names and it gives you data. You'll see what I mean in a minute.
Yeah.
I see everybody looking puzzled there.
I'm puzzled.
I'm still thinking about Brigitte Bardot, but go ahead.
Thank you.
This is based on Social Security Administration baby name data and combined with actuarial life tables. Here's how it works. John, we'll take my name to start with.
Okay.
The median living male named John was born around 1967 and ranges from 41 to 70 years old. That checks out with me. I'll be 69 in a couple weeks.
Got it.
So checks out. For Tom, the median living male named Tom was born around 1960 and ranges from 60 to 75 years old.
Not far off.
That checks out. I was born in 61, yeah.
Median living age for Matthew?
Yes.
Born around 1989, ranges from 26 to 45 years old. I think you're a little older than that, aren't you?
Yeah.
He's a lot older than that.
Mentally? Mentally, that checks out.
Well,
Mentally, it fits right in.
Your mom was ahead of the curve there. That's your
right,
mom and dad.
exactly.
So
Gift
that's
of
all
God, you know?
And the median living male named Gabe was born around 2004.
That checks out.
Whoa.
Ranges anywhere from
2005.
14 to 45 years old. So,
And Gabe is about
What does it say
42.
about Gabe's attitude? Does it say anything there? No.
They don't mention.
They don't go that deep.
If
Okay.
Gabe is 42, then how old are you, Rook?
Mentally, he's a lot older than I am.
Yeah, we
Well,
know that.
boy, that's not
Not
a
hard
high,
to figure that one
That's
out.
not a high hurdle
Right.
to try to clear.
It is so true.
And on that one, why don't we take a quick
Brigitte
break?
Bardot, though.
We're going down the Brigitte Bardot rabbit hole?
May she rest. Interesting woman. She was even a little before my time.
Well,
but
Yeah.
that name just has
Brigitte
sex
Bardot.
symbol written all over it. Brigitte Bardot.
I saw a post on Facebook where somebody had said Brigitte Bardot had passed. And one of the top comments that just happened to be there as I was scrolling was, she was very mean. Well, if that was the case and somebody has died, why would you feel the need to go onto Facebook and give that? That's what you're talking about, where it's just absolutely social media crazy.
Well, see Rob Reiner's death, Charlie Kirk's death, see people just on social media, people feel free to say things they wouldn't say at a cocktail party or at the dinner table.
Let's go, Rodney
necessarily.
King. Can't we all just get along?
I'm sorry, Tom, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, what else was I going to say about Brigitte Bardot that hasn't already been? I am always, and this is not to cast any aspersions on her, but the family did not release a cause of death. But then that's preceded by she was 91.
Yeah, old.
Yeah.
We're all headed in that direction. And I think anytime you're over 90, it's pretty much
house money.
You're just shutting down.
Anything over 85 is house money.
I believe that
It
is
used to
true.
be 70 in the early 80s, mid 80s, and now it's 85. That's house money.
Yep.
The best Brigitte Bardot thing to me, of course, is the Pretenders lyric. When love walks in the room, everybody stand up. It's good, good, good. Like Brigitte Bardot.
Oh,
From
Wow,
Message
that's
of Love.
very deep.
that
Those
is a
lyrics
deep
are way
cultural
better
reference.
than
I love that.
what's the Kiss song?
I don't know.
The lyrics for the Kiss song?
Do they just have
We're
the
gonna,
one
We're
song?
going to party down. We're coming to your town.
That's
We wanna
Grand
party.
Funk. It's Grand Funk.
Oh, is it? Those lyrics are just genius.
We're an American band.
I actually
we're
love the
coming to
lyrics
your
of the
town.
song.
We'll help you party down. We're an American band. I mean, what's the difference?
And then there's the Big Bopper. My wife always says, what song do you know all the words to? And I go, Chantilly Lace. Got a pretty face, got a ponytail, hanging down, wiggle and a walk, and a giggle and a talk.
Let's end this one.
The wiggle round. It's the only song I know all the words to. I don't know why.
Thank you.
It was on the American Graffiti album.
We're cutting you off now before we do karaoke, so thank you, Mr. Hauser. We can shut her down.
We just shut her down just like that with me singing.
This is the week of, again, nothing's going on.
That's true.
However, you can still go to garagelogic.com. You can still sign up for us on YouTube. We got all sorts of stuff. Great. If you missed Christmas, too bad. You might find something on clearance in the shop that's online. Go to garagelogic.com. And thank you for being so bored that you listen to us during this week of podcasts that you have nothing better to do. We love you for it. That should do it.
And I'll be back on Wednesday. Did you know
Wednesday?
that?
I didn't know
I'll be
that.
back Wednesday. Yep.